All right, I've been given 4.5 minutes. Let's see how much I can fit in that time frame. Anyone who knows me knows I can't summarize very well. So let's take a look at the updated timeline because we've got wintry weather all weekend long. We're looking at some light snow from noon to 4 p.m. So that is kind of updating. We were talking about this potentially moving in as early as 10. That's possible in our far western communities like Kosciuszko, Wabash counties, but for most, I expect it to really start to pick up between noon and 4 p.m. It's after 4 that the snow turns light to moderate and then eventually to heavy. Once we get past sunset, this is going to be a pretty treacherous time if you plan on traveling or being out on the roads. So moderate to heavy snow from 4 to 11. From midnight to 6 a.m. Sunday, heavy snow will then taper off, and a mix of rain and snow is possible. This will be closer to sunrise, so we'll still have several hours of potentially heavy snow into the early morning hours Sunday. And then scattered snow showers possible, mostly lake effect, a drier, fluffier snow from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're looking at a wet, heavy snow Saturday afternoon and evening. So blowing and drifting is not likely until potentially Sunday with that lake effect. Otherwise, fortunately, this is looking like more of a heavy snow that's not expected to blow and drift. All right, we'll talk more about that here in just a little bit. Satellite radar shows that system already through the Intermountain West, entering the plains. At least a part of that storm system, kind of the northern extent, eastern extent, is working through the Midwest as we speak. We are looking at, again, some of that snow arriving as early as tomorrow late morning, but I would expect probably more realistically closer to about noon. Here's some of that light snow at about 11 a.m. in Huntington, Wabash, Whitley County. The system moves north and eastward through the afternoon. You can see these colors getting a little darker, a little deeper by the afternoon. That indicates going from light to moderate, and then eventually heavy snow. Wabash, Grant counties, looking at heavy snow at about 4 or 5 p.m. Fort Wayne, Decatur, Van Wert, Paulding, all these areas, pretty much everybody seeing some heavy snow at around 7 p.m. Then through about 8 or 9 p.m., the snow just doesn't let up. There's lots of moisture to work with here. Maybe about 3/4 of an inch of total precipitation. That would equal, on average, about 7 to 10 inches of snow. Now, here we are through Saturday night, still looking at light to moderate snow into early Sunday. There's that rain and snow line. Could see a transition to a little bit of cold rain in our far southern communities. That's why snow totals are a little lower there. As that system lifts northward, a brief period of above freezing temperatures very early Sunday morning. And then when that system exits, we're looking at reinforcing cold air, some lake effect snow showers, and a rapid, potentially flash freeze later Sunday night. Anything that falls and isn't cleared away is going to freeze. A sheet of ice is possible Sunday night into Monday morning, meaning those risks are still going to be alive and well. Our in-house forecast model shows future track anywhere between about maybe 9 or 10 inches southward, maybe about 5 to 7 inches in Jay County and Blackford County. We like to forecast for error. You know, what could go wrong with the storm system? Maybe it's a little warmer than expected. Maybe precipitation isn't quite as heavy as forecast modeled. So while this is what the model is calling for, we are generally calling for some lighter amounts, but not much lighter. About 6 to 8 inches from northern Wabash, most of Whitley, northern Allen counties, and northward, so Auburn, Kendallville, Huntertown, Columbia City, Churubusco, all these areas likely seeing 6 to 8 plus. 4 to 6 inches of snow from Wabash, Huntington, Fort Wayne, looking at Waynedale, New Haven, Decatur, Van Wert, Paulding, and then 2 to 4 inches. Area of greatest uncertainty here because of that warmer air early Sunday morning. These numbers could certainly fluctuate if we end up seeing colder than normal or colder than expected temperatures. But this, I think, is a really good starting point for the storm system and admittedly a conservative starting point for what we're expecting. What about those wind gusts? Well, we are expecting the wind to increase through the afternoon. Not too bad through 4 p.m., but once the snow is the heaviest, that's when it's likely going to be the windiest. So a heavy, wet, dense snow Saturday night. And then Sunday morning, not likely to see much snow at 6 a.m., but plenty gusty. And then by Sunday afternoon, we'll see some lake effect snow showers. And that, paired with wind gusts of about 30, could result in some blowing and drifting. 1 to 2 inch an hour. Snow rates possible with whiteout conditions. Travel could be difficult. I would avoid going out, particularly Saturday night into Sunday morning. Temperatures in the low 30s Sunday. Use some caution Monday morning with some slippery conditions and that flash freeze possible, 26. And then another weaker system is possible Monday night into early Tuesday. Could give us another inch or 2 of early snow Tuesday with temperatures in the 20s, but temperatures likely stay in the 20s through the end of next week.